What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10, and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we begin our talks on the Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer, the one that has dragon blood flowing through its veins. But does that necessarily mean that it is more powerful than some of the other options? We will just have to find that out today. But before we do, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Also make sure to share the video with your friends and click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded. So what is a Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer? This thing really draws a lot of draconic power from its abilities. Now this is from the original PHB, this is nothing new, right? But I think that it actually captures the essence of that draconic flavor pretty well. But does that mean that it is anywhere near as good as some of the others we've talked about so far? We're just gonna have to find out, so let's jump into it. Starting off at level 1, we get Dragon Ancestor, and this is just where we choose our dragon that we happen to take after. Now there are a bunch of options here, I'm not going to list all of them, but essentially they are mixed in with different types of elemental damage. You have some that are acid, you have lightning, you have fire. There are a few that do overlap, as this covers both the metallic and the chromatic dragons. You do not have any gem dragons on this list, and obviously this came far before anything from Fizzbands, so none of those updated things are here, but still you choose one of these and you are now associated with that damage type. You also gain access to the language Draconic, and whenever you make a charisma check while interacting with a dragon, your proficiency bonus is doubled. So this is pretty interesting, right? There are ways that this is going to help us out a lot as we go. For right now, we just have this tied to what we can do. We don't actually have anything to do with it yet, which is what's interesting. Is here at level 1, there actually is nothing to do, right? We just choose this so that we look like something. You may have like scales over half your face, you may be wholly scaly, you may just have weird eyes. It can really be whatever you want it to be. But at this point, the different type of damage serves zero purpose. But let's talk about what it means for later, because I don't think it's fair to necessarily give it nothing just because it doesn't have any effect yet. The thing is, this is going to vary based on what type of damage that you choose, and so some are obviously much better than others, and as you can probably tell, you're going to be taking damage from certain types of things a little bit more. You know, there are obviously going to be more attacks coming in that deal certain types of damage depending on your campaign. There are a lot more spells that deal fire damage than pretty much anything else on this list. So there's definitely not an equality there between all of the damage types. So I'm not going to rank every single one of those because that's ridiculous. But I do think that this can wildly vary based on what you choose. Gaining the Draconic language and being able to interact with dragons is nice. I would probably take this if I was playing Tyranny. I think that Tyranny makes a lot of sense to play one of these, and that way you have a personal connection to what's going on. And then I think there's a lot of fun to be had in that situation. Otherwise, it can be a little more difficult. I mean, it is called Dungeons and Dragons, but you're not necessarily talking to dragons every day. So, to me, like for right now, I really don't think I can give this more than a 6 out of 10. I think it's okay. We get a language and we can interact with dragons, but like we're not going to be doing that every day, at least anywhere near that most of the time, unless you have just a dragon-filled campaign. And then, like I said, the different damage type doesn't really do anything for now, but it will once we go on, and so I'm kind of preemptively boosting that a little bit. Also at level 1, we get Draconic Resilience, and this actually makes us a little bit bulkier and a little bit more difficult to take down, which is not a bad thing. So with this, we actually gain an additional hit point when we take this level, and every time that we take another level in Sorcerer, we're going to gain an additional hit point. So 20 total hit points from start to finish. Not too bad. On top of that, we also get an increase to our AC. So we basically get to just say 13 plus our dexterity modifier without any armor. This is the same thing essentially as just having mage armor up all the time. So is this any good? It's fine. I think having extra HP is not a bad thing. We are going to be very, very flimsy when it comes to that. And so essentially what this does is mathematically, this is going to raise us by 1 die type. So instead of having the D6 that we do, it's essentially mathematically the same as if we had a D8 on average, which honestly is fine. And then the improved AC, I don't know, like it's fine. Like I said, you can already do this with mage armor. It's nice to be able to save the spell slot, but I don't know if I want to blow a first level feature on that personally. Like, it's fine, it's okay, it's not the worst thing, I guess. Overall, this is a 7 out of 10 for me. The HP boost definitely helps out a lot, but the AC I don't think is as impressive here as what it could be. I don't know, I think it could have gone a little farther. Level 6, we get Elemental Affinity, and this actually makes us a little bit more effective with certain types of spells, and we also are, again, a little bit beefier, which is pretty nice. So with this, we now can add extra damage anytime that we deal damage of the type that we chose back at level 1. So if you chose, say, a red dragon, and you're dealing fire damage with a fireball, you're going to deal a little bit of extra damage equal to your charisma modifier. We will come right back to that. Notice that that wording is very specific. We will come right back to that. We can also spend 1 sorcery point and gain resistance to said damage type. Now, I said I was going to come back to how that first part was worded. There's something very important in how this is worded in the middle. It says, add your charisma modifier to 1 damage roll of that spell. That takes this from a pretty cool feature to a pretty trash feature pretty quickly. That means if you fireball a group of people, only 1 of those damage rolls is getting this bonus. If you Scorching Ray someone, only 1 creature is getting that bonus to damage, and so on and so on. That is an incredibly terrible thing for this feature. That has been confirmed in errata, and that is how that works. Yeah, it makes this feature pretty bad, and I don't like that I have to spend a sorcery point to gain resistance to the damage type that I'm already associated with. Why don't I have that for free? That's actively taking away from this. It is making me spend a resource to do something that I should have innately, and I don't like that. I don't like it. So yeah, this is bad. This is actually really bad. I don't think I can go above a 4 out of 10 on this feature. This is pretty rough. I don't want to have to pay for gaining resistance on something like this. I need to keep my sorcery points because I only have so many. I'm not going to do it, right? I'm not going to do it, and I don't want to have to only get the 1 boost to 1 of those rolls, especially if I'm dealing a bunch of AoE damage. This is a blaster type of subclass, and if you can't blast effectively like what this is trying to hold you back from doing, what's even the point? At level 14, we get Dragon Wings, and while the last feature was a little disappointing, this one may just turn it around. So with this, as a bonus action, we can sprout wings, and we now have a flying speed equal to our walking speed. These last until we dismiss them as a bonus action on our turn, and of course we have some restrictions when it comes to armor, but I mean, a lot of times you probably aren't going to be wearing armor with this, but if you are, then you've got to make sure that you've got ways to let those puppies out. This is great. 14th level in the PHB, mind you, having concentration-free flight. That is wild. That is absolutely wild to me. I'll just tell you, 10 out of 10. It's 14th level. Yeah, it's late. Obviously, we've got things like the Twilight Cleric that gets it at level 6, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers on this kind of thing. Concentration-free flight in the PHB days is incredible, and I will absolutely take that every day of the week. Having a flying speed definitely helps us because, again, we're not going to really be a frontline fighter. Yes, we have a little bit more of a beefiness to us than most other sorcerers do, but I still don't want to be in the front line. I still don't want to be taking a bunch of hits when all I have is essentially a D8 hit die and just some mage armor, and that's it. I personally don't want to have to rely on that if I don't have to. If I have to take a hit here and there, whatever, but I don't want to be the one that's asking for it. So this flying speed is definitely huge. Finally, at level 18, we get Draconic Presence, and this is our big feature, our capstone. How will they end off this insane subclass? Will we turn into a dragon? Nope, sure won't. This is what we get instead. So as an action, we can spend 5 sorcery points to create an aura around us that represents either awe or fear. This is 60 feet, so it's pretty huge. For 1 minute or until we lose concentration, each hostile creature that starts its turn in that area has to succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed or frightened until the aura ends, and any creature that succeeds on the saving throw is immune for 24 hours. Now, this sounds interesting and fun on paper, but this feature sucks. This feature is bad. First of all, it's 18th level. I don't want to be charming and frightening people at 18th level, because I'll guarantee you that the vast majority of creatures I'm fighting at this level are immune to at least one, if not both. So that just doesn't matter. So even with the 60-foot distance, if everything's immune, who cares? Who cares? No. It also costs 5 sorcery points. You don't even get 1 free use per day and then you can use sorcery points later. Nope, it's 5 sorcery points. Who is spending 5 sorcery points on this? And if something succeeds on that saving throw, then you just can't use it again. They're immune for 24 hours. And it also takes concentration. Everything about this sucks. Every single thing about this feature is bad. I don't know why anyone would like this. In fairness, it's 18th level, so most people aren't going to get this far. If you ever are playing a sorcerer like this and you intentionally go to 18th level, I don't know what you're doing. Get 17th level, get your 9th level spells, and dip. Do not go here. This is bad. 2 out of 10. I do not like this feature. It's awful. So what do we think about this subclass? I know that I was a little enthusiastic about that last feature, but man, it's bad. It's really bad. However, the rest of the subclass honestly is not the worst thing ever. Dragon Wings is awesome, right? But again, that's level 14. It's really late, so we can't put as much weight on this as I would something else. So we have to look a little bit earlier with our Draconic Resilience and our type of damage that we choose, and then our Elemental Affinity. Obviously, this will vary a lot. I'll just tell you, if you choose something like Acid damage, this subclass is probably going to rank about a 3 out of 10 for you, because there aren't that many spells here that are going to actually help you with boosting by that charisma modifier. There's nothing good. Now, in fairness, transmuted spell meta magic was not a thing when this was written, and it is now. So that will help a lot, right? But that is a constant sorcery point tax. That is a constant use of sorcery points. 1 sorcery point every time you cast a spell that you want to be changed to have your extra damage. And even then, it's only 1 damage roll. So even if you were at, let's say, a bronze dragon, right? Even if you were a bronze dragon, you got lightning damage, right? And you want to go from fireball to lightning ball because you don't like lightning bolt. You still can only do that to 1 creature and get that extra charisma modifier. So yeah, let's say you're a bronze dragon, for instance, right? You have lightning damage, which isn't the worst thing in the world. So you have lightning damage. You want to turn fireball into this because you would rather have a sphere rather than a line, right, with lightning bolt. So you do that. It costs you a sorcery point off the bat. Doesn't matter. You have to do it. And then you can only add your charisma modifier to 1 of those rolls. All the other ones are normal. I personally think that that's a stupid tax to have to pay every time I want to cast a spell, because then if I choose anything outside of fire, I'm kind of screwed. So yeah, there's options, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it, because that's a lot of sorcery points. That's every turn that you want to use a leveled spell. I personally think that is too much. I don't think that that's really helpful here. Having to spend a sorcery point in order to gain resistance to your own type of damage is ridiculous to me. That's another little nickel and dime tax. So if you are dealing with a red dragon and you want to gain resistance, you should have had it already because you are a red dragon in a way, right? There should be a way to just have it. I don't want to pay for it. I don't want it. Like, the only things really that I'm looking at is the Draconic Resilience. That is quite good, right? That is quite good. And Dragon Wings, that's really good. That's super, super good. So does this suck? Is this the worst thing in the world? No, it's really not the worst subclass I've ever seen. It is definitely not the worst Sorcerer that's out there, and you'll know what I mean as we go a little farther. It's definitely not the worst Sorcerer in the book, but it is far from the best. This is going to earn itself a 6 out of 10 overall. I don't think it's terrible, but it just needs a little bit of help. And honestly, it's just a victim of being from the PHB. Here's my thing. We're going to rewrite this and have something a lot better come Friday. And man, I'm excited. We are doing a complete overhaul outside of a couple of things and really updating it to match with modern times. And I am super excited for that. The best way that you can be on top of that is to, of course, be subscribed so you know that when it comes live, but also make sure that you are a member so that you have access to the write-up that is going to be in there so that you can follow along. There's going to be a lot of information in there. This one's a little complicated, so make sure that you're a member so that you can get the write-up, and that will make it a lot less confusing. But until that time, I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.